CAG audit of the Jal Jeevan Mission. Jal Jeevan Mission was launched in the year 2019. Now, UPSC is known to ask very, I would say, minute things. It tests your awareness, it tests your alertness as well. Like, for example, once in 2013, it asked a question on MG that MG aims to provide employment to every rural individual, was the first statement. And students, they tick marked that statement correct. But actually, according to the scheme, MG aims to provide employment to every rural household. Every rural household का मतलब है कि at least one person from the household is guaranteed employment under MG for 100 days in a year. And for those 100 days, that person from a household will receive the wages. Every rural individual is not guaranteed. So these small things you need to know and understand. You need to focus upon, you cannot ignore such things. Abhi is baar ke prelims mein, in this year's prelims, there was a question about this Pradhan Mantri Har Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. And a statement was that it aims to train 3 lakh individuals. Actually, the website shows 1 lakh individuals. UPSC is asking questions up to this level. The facts have to be there up to this level. This is kind of insane, but yes, this is a fact. What can you do? You can only prepare. You can only, keep on revising things, and you should not overlook these facts. You should give them due importance. This is what you can do. You need to fasten your seat belts. You need to, be more serious, and you need to be more attentive and alert while preparing. Probably this is what is being demanded by UPSC by giving such questions out. Ye jo Pradhan Mantri Ghar Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, the question which I just talked about, it was one of the many questions this year which was like this. Like, it talked about Kabaddi World Cup, and it gave the statement that the men's team won the World Cup final by this score, and women's team also won the World Cup final by this score. है ना? The scores were opposite. Men kabaddi का जो वो जीते थे, the men's kabaddi team which they won from that score which was mentioned in the women's statement, and women team won which was mentioned in the men's statement. You need to aware about the scores also, this levels of fact also. So best is be alert, be attentive, and if you develop this habit of being alert, attentive to minute details, you will be comfortable in it with time. Don't panic. Panic se kuch nahi hoga. You need to, build up your capabilities. Because this attention to detail is something which UPSC is looking for. In questions se to yahi lagta hai. It is testing you whether you have paid attention to details or not. And one such detail in this is that the Jal Jeevan Mission, launched in 2019, aims to provide fresh, or I would say drinking water, or fresh water to every rural household. Rural, not urban. In urban areas, we have separate Amrut mission which is going on. Now, this fresh water to every rural household has to be provided through a functional household tap connection, FHTC, where at least 55 liters of water per person per day is available through that tap. Many households in India were devoid of it. And once a village attains every household with a functional household tap connection and water is coming in that, the required quantity, then that village is termed as Har Ghar Jal. If it happens in the district, then that district is termed as Har Ghar Jal district. If that state, Har Ghar Jal state. And the ultimate aim is Har Ghar Jal in Bharat of the Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, this Jal Jeevan Mission is under audit by none other than the Auditor, Comptroller and Auditor General of the country, CAG, a constitutional position. CAG is checking whether ki bhai water is coming or not. You have said that Har Ghar Jal village ho gaya hai. Actually it is there or not, and what is the quality of water which is coming. All these kind of inspections, all these kind of, I would say, auditing is done under this audit. What is it? An extensive performance audit of the Jal Jeevan Mission. When did it start? Approximately 1.5 years ago it started, after the CAG included it in its audit plan. 1.5 years ago. Launch though it was there in 2019. So bhai CAG says ki bhai let the scheme roll out, then only I will audit. Na, it is not like the scheme is announced and I start auditing. What will I audit? Let it roll out, let the most or majority of the expenditure happen, then I will audit. Period covered. The audit examines Jal Jeevan Mission implemented in states from financial year 2019-20 to 2023-24. And it is a horizontal audit, means it will cover all states. Status: fieldwork is mostly complete, and in some states reports are being drafted. Reports from 2 states have already reached the CAG headquarters. These reports will be tabled in the parliament. Next step: once finalized, the reports will be presented in the legislative assembly of the respective states as well as in the parliament also. Focus: the audit is at the state level, not national level, because states primarily lead the JJM's implementation. Actually, in this scheme, 50% of expenditure has to be done by the states, and these schemes have to be implemented by the states. So, it is important to put state governments also accountable. Why audit after 5 years? Expenditure level: CAG typically selects a scheme for audit after 70 to 80% of its budget has been spent. Bhai pata lagega na, in the audit we'll find out whether that spend or expenditure has been done correctly or not. What are the outcomes of this expenditure? JJM's growth. JJM started in 2019-20 with lower initial spending. Audit began after its first phase concluded in 2023-24 when spending had significantly increased. First major audit. This marks the first comprehensive audit of JJM since its inception in 2019. The last similar audit was for its predecessor, the National Rural Drinking Water Program in 2018. It is not the first such program which aims to provide drinking water or fresh water in the households. Earlier there was National Rural Drinking Water Program, but how it was being implemented, that is, many flaws were highlighted in the CAG report of that. Now let's see what happens with the Jal Jeevan Mission's reports. Next is related concerns. JJM's estimated cost increase. The estimated cost of the Jal Jeevan Mission has more than doubled from its original plan of rupees 3.6 lakh crore to about 8.2 lakh crore. Funding approval issues. The Jal Shakti Ministry requested 2.7 lakh crore in extra central funds, but out of these 2.7 lakh crore rupees, only 1.51 lakh crore rupees, 46% less than requested, was issued by the Ministry of Finance. So definitely there are financial constraints. Then there was this tender rule changed. A report by the Indian Express in May 21 indicated that change in tender rules 3 years ago removed expenditure checks. And when these expenditure checks were removed, then obviously cost increased or cost escalations had to happen. Rupees 16,839 crore for 14,586 schemes was there. Now about this Jal Jeevan Mission. So Union Budget 2025-26 means this year's budget only has extended the Jal Jeevan Mission to 2028. That means that by 2028, every rural household will have a functional household tap connection where 55 liters of water per person per day will be available. This is what it means. And there is a focus on improving infrastructure, quality and ensuring sustainable water supply. Prime Minister Modi launched JJM on August 15, 2019 by restructuring and subsuming National Rural Drinking Water Program. Initial goal: to provide tap water supply to every rural household by 2024, targeting 55 liters per person per day. Nodal ministry for it is Ministry of Jal Shakti, Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Funding pattern: it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So centrally sponsored schemes are made by the center but implemented by the states, and funding is also shared between the center and the states. On the contrary, there are central sector schemes. Central sector schemes are made by the center, implemented by the center. But this is a centrally sponsored scheme. So funding pattern 90 by the center, 10 by the states for Himalayan and northeastern states. 100% by the center for the UTs. UTs are territories under center only. 50-50 for rest of the states. Means those states which are neither UTs nor Himalayan states. So this is the funding pattern. And one more major thing in this which I wanted to highlight is that the scheme also talks about public participation, that is Jan Bhagidari. Jal Samitis have to be made. And in the Jal Samitis, women have to be there in the village areas, which will formulate plans for conserving water and for supplying those water to those households in the rural areas. Because it is the women who are at the receiving end of lack of water supply. They have to walk miles, gather water and come. And this is difficult. So those Jal Samitis is what Jan Bhagidari is all about. And Jan Bhagidari can bring the actual transformation, especially if there are women in it. Progress as of August 2024, 15.07 crore of rural households now have tap water connections. 188 districts, 1838 blocks, 109996 gram panchayats and 2,33,209 villages have achieved Har Ghar Jal status. Har Ghar Jal, so you know, means they are having functional household tap connections. Over 2.35 crore households in Japanese encephalitis, acute encephalitis syndrome affected districts are getting clean tap water. 11 states, UTs like Goa, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Haryana, Telangana, Puducherry, Gujarat, Himachal, Punjab, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh have achieved 100% tap water connection. But yes, let the CAG report come and let's see what CAG says about these states. 9,27,421 schools and 9,63,955 Anganwadi centers have tap water supply. Objectives of Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, the broad objectives of the Jal Jeevan Mission include providing functional household tap connections to every rural household, prioritizing FHTC provision in quality affected areas, drought-prone regions, desert areas and Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojanas. We have to prioritize in these areas. These are more vulnerable areas. Ensuring functional tap connections in schools, Anganwadi centers, Gram Panchayat buildings, health and wellness centers and community buildings. There in every, of these community centers, FHTC should be there. Monitoring the functionality of tap connections, whether they are functioning or not. ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ लगा दी. Promoting voluntary ownership among the local community through contributions, cash, kind or labor shramdan. They want to, contribute. They also can contribute at the local level. Pipeline बिछानी है, taps. If they want to contribute by labor shramdan, that is also a possibility. Ensuring the sustainability of water supply system. We have to ensure that also. ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई you have installed a tap and that is it. हो गया Jal Jeevan Mission. No, you have to ensure that water supply is there round the clock, and for that you need to refill or maintain the sustainability of the water bodies from where that water is coming. You have to take adequate measures for conserving that as well. That is also part of it. It is not only demand game that you are consuming water. You should be responsible for supply, maintaining or sustaining the supply of that as well. Empowering and developing human resource in the water sector, covering construction, plumbing, electrical work, water quality management, water treatment, catchment protection, etc. Raising awareness about significance of safe drinking water and involving stakeholders to make water everyone's responsibility. So, let's see what happens with this. The components supported under JJM: development of in-village piped water supply infrastructure. You have to do that because you have to give Har Ghar Jal. Development and augmentation of reliable drinking water sources. This is what I was talking about, the sources you have to develop and augment, like a lake or a pond in the nearby area. Bulk water transfer, treatment plants and distribution networks. Technological interventions for containment removal. Retrofitting of ongoing and completed schemes to provide FHTCs at a minimum service level of 55 liters per day. Grey water management. What is grey water? Grey water is the water which is coming out of your showers, bathroom, when you take bath, when the utensils are washed, that is grey water. That water which is coming out of sewage is not grey water, that is categorized as black water. But this water which is coming out of showers, which is coming out after washing the utensils, washing the vegetables and all, that is grey water. And that grey water has the highest, I would say, potential to get recycled and reused. And it is easy also to do that. It is difficult to, recycle black water and reuse it. But grey water can be recycled and reused. So, develop avenues for grey water management. Management of wastewater without fecal contamination is grey water from showers, basin, washing machines, etc., which has high potential for reuse. Now, support activities like IEC, Information, Education and Communication, Human Resource Development, Training, Utility Development, Water Quality Laboratories, Research and Development, and Community Capacity Building for this particular scheme to be successful. It has generated employment also, 59.9 lakh person years of direct employment during capital expenditure phase, 2.2 crore person per years indirect employment during capital expenditure phase, and 13.13 lakh person years of direct employment during operation and maintenance phase. So, it entails that also, but yes, there are challenges in it. Lack of dependable water sources, that is the biggest challenge, and how to maintain that also. Groundwater contamination, uneven terrain, scattered habitations, delayed in statutory clearances. All these are challenges which are faced in this Jal Jeevan Mission. There are solutions also, but yes, let's see how these solutions work with time.